Hi, my name is Kristina Holton, and I grew up here in Junction City, participating in the Scandinavian Festival from age 3 in dance groups, in the children's choir, and in working in multiple different booths. Like all of the performers and booth workers, I had a wonderful homemade costume or costumes growing up made by my mom, but always looked to the others in the community in envy for those who had authentic costumes and thought someday maybe I'd have the opportunity. Well, it just so happened that when I was in college, I had the opportunity to go to Finland to do a teaching internship. And of course, the first thing on my mind was an authentic Finnish national costume, which made sense for me since my mom's family was from Finland. I stayed with 2 different host families, and one of the first things I said to my first host mom was, I'm really interested in an authentic Finnish national costume. She seemed perplexed and confused, and at one point suggested that perhaps somebody in town might have one in the back of their closet somewhere that they'd be willing to sell me. And I said, no, I really want my own. I want to pick it out. And I just kept at it. And so one day she went down to the textile shop, brought me a catalog, and I just proceeded to daydream about which one I would possibly pick. Well, my mom came over to Finland the last couple weeks when I was there. We did some traveling, and of course I had her convinced that I needed a Finnish national costume. There was no way we were going to be able to afford one that was already sewn for me, so I had to also convince her that she was going to sew it for me once we got home. So we went down to the textile shop, and I had this one picked out. It actually is from the region of Finland where my mom's family came from, and started talking through my host mom, interpreting with the woman at the shop about what we would need and what parts we could actually afford. And we settled on the wool for the skirt and for the vest, as well as the buttons, the pocket, the headband, and the lining of the vest. The rest of the linen for the blouse and the apron, we figured we could come up with that on our own. So we were talking with the lady at the textile shop, and she was explaining that the skirt would be 3 yards or 9 feet of fabric. And my mom said, oh, that's not a problem. We would just trim it down to fit my waist. And she said, oh, no, you have to use it all. And in Finland, what they would do back in the day, if you were a larger woman, it was a sign of wealth because it meant that your husband had enough money to feed you. And if you weren't a larger woman, what they would do is they would take the fabric and they would pleat it around your waist to make you look like you were a larger woman. So that was a sign of wealth in Finland. So 9 feet or 3 yards of fabric, all condensed and put together around the waist. We ordered the fabric because it's all 100% hand-woven wool, and we ordered it. It was several $100s at the time. This was back in 2002. And we had to wait for it to come in the mail. And I had already told my mom, don't worry, Mom, we'll take our time. You can take your time sewing it. But of course, as soon as it arrived, I immediately wanted her to get started. The directions for the costume were in Finnish. Fortunately, she has enough seamstress skills, and with the help of some other ladies here in town, they were able to decipher what it was she needed to do. She practice cut the vest out of a different piece of wool that was just cheap she could buy here, so as to make sure that the one cut she got for the costume would be the perfect fit. And I had it for Festival 2002. Later that summer, was ready to go. I wore it several years when I danced. So a little bit about the costume. The stripes are traditionally Finnish. That is a sign of Finland. It's very, very traditional. Unlike some of the other countries that have more embroidery, this is the way in which they show uniqueness and embellishment into costumes. Blue is very much a Finnish color. Often the bodice would be solid blue with all of the different costumes. The pocket is the only thing that came pre-assembled, which was great. And again, back in the day, they might keep just a little bit of money or other things they need in the pocket. And my costume, the headband is a sign of being an unmarried woman, which I was at the time when I got my costume. And once you became a married woman, you would normally wear a hat. Well, I wasn't really interested in the hat, and they often are very ornate and unique, and sometimes don't even directly match the costume themselves. So what I always just agreed upon with my husband was that during the 4 days of the Scandinavian Festival, I would just parade around as an unmarried woman. That would be how it would go. So that's my costume.